Shields up, Ironbreakers. Burkan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and today we're going to be talking about Frostfang Barioth. Now, for those of you that are not aware, this monster came out last night, so I actually have a live stream up on the channel. There was a lot of people there. We all had a good time. We basically faced off against Frostfang for the first time, and I did my traditional, armor set slash weapons review that I tend to do for pretty much everything that comes out in Monster Hunter World. So if you guys want to check that out, the live stream should be public on the channel, and hopefully it will be processed by now, because we all know that YouTube takes about 10 years or so to process a simple 2-hour live stream. But it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad, am I right? Anyway, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about my how I feel in regards to this monster, because I went in there yesterday expecting to get my ass completely handed to me. Like, we're talking, I'm going in there with my long shelling set, I'm going in there with a hard ice resistance decoration, I'm going in there ready, right? And it turns out that I pretty much over-prepared, because Frostfang Barioth is significantly easier than regular Barioth. I actually struggle quite a bit with regular Barioth because he moves too much, particularly if you're playing like a weapon that requires a little bit of setup like the Gunlance. He moves way too much. It makes it harder for you to land the Wormstake Blast, makes it harder for you to, land wall bangs, makes it harder for you to do all of those things. But the interesting thing about Frostfang Barioth is that he pretty much fights at the Barioth's nest throughout like 90% of the fight. As a matter of fact, I think the first fight that I did on him pretty much was on the nest, and then eventually when he left the nest, he came instantly running back to the nest. So that fight didn't last too long. And the thing about him fighting in the nest is that it makes it super easy to wallbang. It's just like, look, dude, face him in any direction that you want, flinch shot, boom, almost 100% guaranteed. Well, not 100%, but very close to 100% guaranteed wall bang. Like, you can wall bang him left, right, and center. And that gives me a lot of openings as someone that is playing with the Gunlance. It gives me a lot of openings to place my Wormstake Blast, gives me a lot of openings to just unload charged shells on him, unload Wyvern's Fire. And it was just like a complete, it was a pushover. He was very much a pushover. And at the point I was thinking like, well, maybe it's because the Gunlance just happens to be a really good counter for Frostfang Barioth. That might be the reason. But no, a lot of people in chat were reporting that, they were also clearing it on the first try, and it was not as hard as the original Barioth. I think one of the main reasons why he's not harder than regular Barioth is because of how much how much percentage of the fight takes place in the nest. Because the nest is just like, interestingly enough, with the other Barioth, I almost felt like the nest gives him the advantage, because he jumps around, he does all of these crazy things. Because of the fact that this one has a lot more openings, like, he will do one of his frost breath attacks or whatever, and if he catches you, then that means that you're gonna get hit, because his frost attacks are not really blockable. You can't block those even with guard up. We were testing out all kinds of stuff to see if we could cancel the ice effect, like we were testing warming jewels. People were telling me they were trying to run like resistor level 3. Like, we were trying all kinds of things to see if we could avoid the effect of you getting like stuck on his goopy ice. But there doesn't appear to be anything that kind of like stops that. So that's really the most dangerous thing that he can do. However, if he happens to miss his little frost attack, then like the next thing that follows is going to do a really big attack coming down on you. And depending on whether or not he's enraged, I think he's going to do it twice. But basically immediately after that, he's going to have a big opening where he's just like roaring and doing, stuff that doesn't really matter. And when I say roaring, I don't think it's actually a roar that, interrupts you and stuns you. It's just like, his roar is taunting, like, bah, I'm coming at you. But at the same time, I also had earplugs. That's why I'm saying I'm not 100% sure what the deal is with that particular roar. But either way, it almost seems like after every major move that he did, that was a big opening for me to just like charge in and unload a couple of shells and just get my openings that way. And again, ridiculous amount of wall bangs that take place in that particular nest, which just made the monster too easy. Now, during my stream, I was actually thinking if this could potentially be a result of so many people being incredibly negative towards Alatreon, because as we all know, when Alatreon came out, there was a big vocal portion of the community that was like, man, this fight is garbage and this one-hit mechanic and it's too hard and yada, yada, yada. And it makes me wonder if Capcom was actually looking at that and they were like, hey man, maybe we should tone down Frostfang. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not sure if that's the case. Hell, for all I know, it might be because, you know, I ran Alatreon so much that like stuff that comes after it just feels incredibly easy. I genuinely don't know. But I am somewhat concerned because, you know, we had the Alatreon update, which felt really good for me. Because like, oh dude, this gave us something to actually work towards and, you know, something for us to spend some actual time trying to figure out the fight. And then we had this one where it's like I went in there, instantly slapped him into a wall, boom, dead. And, you know, was able to pretty much grind everything that I wanted out of him. I mean, I even crafted both of his armor sets, the alpha and the beta, because they actually have really good skills. And speaking of which, I also wanted to talk about his armor set, because Frostfang's armor set, in my opinion, is pretty much what you would want out of any new monster that comes out of a new set. And the reasoning behind that is because the whole set has a theme behind it, so you can use it as a full set. And the theme behind the set is naturally crit draw, punishing draw, and Slugger Secret, which is, you know, it's a little bit of a meme depending on the weapon that you are using, but you know, it is an interesting playstyle that you can employ in the game. Again, depending on the weapon that you are using, I'd say a really cool weapon to use this on would be something like a greatsword. Naturally, it's also going to be very good for hammer, even though you're not really going to be taking advantage of some of the stuff that comes with it. But ultimately, it's just, you know, if you want to use the whole set, it's going to be a good set and it's going to have an overall theme to it. But on top of it, you also have a couple of parts that I would consider that you can use pretty much in any set. So let's have a look at the set here. So right now you guys can see that I have the Frostfang Barioth Alpha equipped. So for starters, it looks hella good. Okay, this is a really good looking set in my opinion, really reflects the monster, and it's just got like all of these furs going on. The alpha version in particular, I really like it. The beta version, I don't like it as much because, you know, it's got that whole Japanese mecha thing going on. And sure, I'm a fan of Japanese mecha, but like not in my Monster Hunter dudes. I don't know, that helmet just looks a little bit ridiculous. Some people are saying it looks like Legiana's helmet. It looks like he's got the actual teeth of the Frostfang Barioth on top of the helmet. Either way, I'm not a big fan of the beta helmet in terms of looks, but either way, like when you're looking at the skills that you can get with this set, it's actually really good. Like for the beta, for instance, you got on the helmet level 2 critical eye. And if you're actually trying to go after the theme of the set, the alpha version comes with quick sheath and it still has reasonable slots. So you got good skills and good slots, particularly like pretty much every piece of the beta set is just really good for you to use on almost anything with the exception of the belt. The belt is about sets that you want to use with quick sheath, but even then, it makes up for it in the amount of slots that you get that really allows you to customize. But then you look at the chest, for instance, and you're looking at 3 attack boost, 1 tier 4 deco, and 1 tier 2 deco. You can literally put this into any set, and keep in mind that just one piece of Frostfang set is going to give you the punishing draw effect. So you can get the punishing draw pretty much for free and still get a piece of gear that is really good. Then you also have gloves here with critical eye level 2 and 2 tier 4 decos, really good. And in the legs, you also have 2 tier 4 decos, but only 1 attack boost, which, you know, it's also all right. But the cool thing about the legs is that if you go to the alpha set, you get level 3 slugger. Level 3 slugger on 1 piece of gear, and it still gives you 1 attack boost and still gives you 2 tier 1 slots. Like, this is, I would imagine this might be just one of the best pieces of gear for hammer. Again, I don't do a lot of hammer, so I know that when people are like calculating and stuff and being all mathematician-like, because I saw Jinjinx and Tuna video and whatever, and they were going like, oh yeah, you only really need 1 slugger. But it's like, I'm looking at these legs and I'm like, dude, but you can have all 3 of them on 1 piece of gear. Why wouldn't you do that? Not to mention this particular piece of gear also contributes to Slugger's Secret should you want to chase after that, which is really friggin' sweet. So I don't know, guys, but basically I went ahead and I made both sets because also he's super easy to farm, so it's not really a problem. I'm also going to be crafting his gun lance, even though his gun lance was somewhat disappointing. Again, on the gloves here, you got critical eye mixed with 2 slugger and still 2 slugger slots on the alpha set is just really, really good all around, in my opinion. And again, the reason why it's so good is because you have this overarching theme of the set, right? Where you have the whole crit draw, punishing draw, slugger secret, all of these skills kind of coming together. But then on top of it, you can actually take away some of the individual pieces and put them on a meta set and get punishing draw for free. In my opinion, this is what every future set should strive for in Monster Hunter World. Like any new monster that you put out, this is exactly what you want to do with its set. You want to have a couple of pieces that you can kind of like take away and just, you know, be able to implement that onto any set that you want and have an overarching theme that is pretty much fun all around. Now, I'm not saying that hasn't been the case. I'm just saying that Frostfang Barioth, in my opinion, is one of the monsters that did that the best. Now, when it comes to the weapons, I'm not going to be looking at all of them because, like I said, I already did my live stream if you want to watch my reaction to every single weapon. But I would like to point out I'm still a little bit disappointed over the fact that Capcom quite simply will not give us long shelling level 7, which is weird because it's something that has kind of like plagued the Gunlands in a lot of ways. Like, for instance, in the original Monster Hunter, we didn't get wide shelling level 4, if I remember correctly, up until Kulfter Roth came around, which I was always like, why? Why can't we get wide shelling level 4? I really don't understand it. It almost seemed like, oh man, wide shelling level 4 is a power level that you're just not prepared to deal with, and it just doesn't make any sense. And then you get the Iceborne, and you kind of see the same situation again with wide shelling, where they're like, nah man, wide shelling level 6 is this just overpowered thing. So they first gave us Rajang's Gun Lance, which was wide shelling level 6 and just sucked, okay? It was a terrible gun lance all around. The only good thing that it had was that wide shelling level 6, and even then, it was just like bad. It was just a bad gun lance, right? And then eventually they gave us wide shelling level 7, but they just kind of like refused to give us long shelling level 7. It's just so weird. And I know that some people like to say, some of them are memeing, some of them are actually being sincere, and they like to say, oh man, that's because long shelling is so overpowered. And I'm just like, dude, we have bowguns in this game. What are you talking about? Have you seen what a bowgun can do? How do you mean long shelling level 7 is going to be the overpowered thing? Please. But anyway, the gun lance is going to be normal shelling level 7. It's got no slots whatsoever. It does reach purple sharpness with a nice amount of white, and it has a decent amount of ice element. I could see some people using this against monsters that are weak to ice, but I don't know, dude. The lack of slots there is just something that I really don't like. I do like the positive affinity and the amount of white sharpness that you get, which kind of offsets the fact that every time you'll full burst with a gun lance, like your sharpness just kisses your ass goodbye. So, you know, it is what it is. Another very interesting weapon that I would like to bring up is definitely the Charge Blade. Now, the Charge Blade I find very interesting because it's got impact files. So the reason why I personally find this weapon so interesting is because of the amount of elemental damage that you have, which means that whenever you're fighting like a fire monster, you're going to deal a lot of damage, you know, to that monster, assuming that he is weak to the respective element. You got positive affinity, and on top of it, you got the impact files. So basically bringing elemental together with the impact files. Usually whenever you have this amount of elemental damage, you kind of expect the Charge Blade to be a power element file. But this makes it a bit more unique. Now, I don't play that much Charge Blade. You guys know me. I do play a little bit here and there, but my main thing is Gun Lance. But I did find it interesting that this thing had impact file. When it comes to all the other weapons, it's just like dual blades really good. I did feel like some of the weapons did not receive quite as much when it comes to design budget. Like the SNS is basically a recoloration of the regular Barioth SNS, which was kind of disappointing really, but you know, it is what it is. We also got a pendant and some Palico gear, and the Palico gear does look really sweet. So if you want to have your Palico look like this, this is a piece of gear that you might want to craft for yourself. The weapon is going to deal ice damage. Surprise, surprise. It doesn't deal that much raw damage, so, you know, it's not the best weapon. Personally, I like to use sleep weapons because they give me a lot of openings whenever I'm fighting monsters, but, you know, to each his own. If you want to have your Palico look like this, then you can go ahead and craft that. The pendant itself was nothing special. It just looks like the one from Rajang, except it's painted in white, and that is pretty much it. Now, a lot of you guys were asking me about Master Rank Layered Armor during my live stream, and for those of you that are not yet aware, Master Rank Layered Armor is actually going to be coming in a later update during fall. There's going to be a fall update. It's going to bring new monsters, new stuff, new things, and that is what is going to be including the Master Rank Layered Armor stuff. So what did you guys think about Frostfang Barioth? Did you like it? Did you think it was maybe a little bit too easy? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, another bit of news, the Monster Hunter official Twitter account has mentioned that they will be running the seasonal events again on the 21st of August, and they're going to be running 3 events. It's going to be the Holiday Joy Fest, the Grand Appreciation Festival, and the Full Bloom Festival, just in case you missed any of the rewards from those festivals. So basically, on the 21st of August, running until the September 3rd, it's going to be the Holiday Joy Fest. This, if I remember correctly, is the Chinese New Year inspired festival where you can get that sweet Chinese looking armor. So if you didn't get that one, this is definitely one that you want to make sure to participate in. Next, from September 4th to the 17th, there's going to be the Grand Appreciation Festival, which is the whole astral theme and stuff. I was not a huge fan of this one, to be completely honest. But, you know, if you want to get that particular layered armor, you can go ahead and do that. And then September 18th until September 30th, it is going to be the Full Bloom Fest, which was the whole rose-themed festival. So if you missed out on any rewards from that festival, you can get that stuff there. Naturally, while these festivals are running, all of the event quests are going to be available for you to run in case you missed out on anything. So if you're still missing out on stuff, maybe you didn't get to do all the things that you wanted during the festival, then you can go ahead and get ready, because on the 21st of August, stuff kicks back up again with the 3 festivals back to back. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy the video, hit the dislike button, because feedback is important. Feedback, which you can also leave in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.